Today we are going to be looking at the complete Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege lore explained in timeline order. I'm condensing this all as much as I can, but I got 100% of my information from the Rainbow Six Wiki fandom page, the Siege cinematic episodes, and the seasonal comics. Alright, no more wasting time, let's get started from the very beginning. So, while on a mission in Europe around the year of 2012, Gerald Morris, or better known now as Deimos, had a switch get flipped in his head where he disobeyed Team Rainbow's orders, and he shoots and kills a hostage as well as his trusted teammate. Deimos had completely fled the mission, so Team Rainbow had deemed the mission as unsuccessful and considered Deimos to be killed in action along with his partner. This mission failure massively demoralizes Team Rainbow, putting them out of commission for years due to a lack of government trust and funding. This hiatus ultimately leads to an uprise in terrorist organizations worldwide. After 3 years go by, the at the time leader of Team Rainbow, Aurelia Arnault, responds by saying, "As of this moment, my program is reactivated." So we get Team Rainbow back into action after their hiatus. Somewhere in the middle of all of this on the timeline, a private military company, or PMC, called Nighthaven is created by a well-known operator who goes by the codename of Callie. Eventually, Callie would meet a tech genius codenamed as Osa in Nighthaven's early years, which would lead to expansive technological tool development for the PMC. Now getting back to Team Rainbow here, when they came back into commission to combat terrorist groups, specifically the White Masks group, they recruited the FBI from the USA, the SAS from the UK, the GSG-9 from Germany, Spetsnaz from Russia, and lastly the GIGN from France. Obviously, this would bring together the original 20 operator roster that we saw at the game's launch. One day in 2015, there was a massive terrorist attack from the White Masks group on Bartlett University, which is obviously a well-known original Rainbow Six Siege map. Team Rainbow was able to intercept this attack and take down the group, which was only the beginning of Team Rainbow's return to anti-terrorism. The White Masks' terrorism efforts continued for the next 4 years until 2019, where they were ultimately defeated for the last time by Team Rainbow. Over those 4 years, obviously, there were countless other operators that were recruited to the squad, and they will all become important as we continue to maneuver our way throughout this whole story. Later on in 2019, Team Rainbow begins to make an effort at recruiting from more places all over the world. Their main base was set in England at Hereford base actually, but they set up numerous other ones across the globe in attempts to recruit more operators. Also in 2019, the aforementioned Nighthaven PMC officially joins forces with Team Rainbow. Ash doesn't like this move though, and she outwardly expresses this. This conflict will come back later on, so just keep this in mind for now. In 2020, Sam Fisher, better known as Zero in the game, joins Team Rainbow as he's on the run from an unknown enemy and Rainbow promises protection to him. Presumably, this unknown enemy was Deimos all along, but that was obviously unconfirmed as of 4 years ago. With Nighthaven and Team Rainbow's new contract, Callie begins doing things behind Team Rainbow's back, such as recruiting their operators to join Nighthaven so that they can ultimately become the stronger counter-terrorism group. Then, we see the 2021 Tournament of Champions take place, which is basically like a 5v5 competition, simulating a real match of Siege like in multiplayer that we would play, but the operators are shooting blanks rather than actually killing each other with bullets, obviously. So just to briefly sum up what happens in this tournament that's important, Callie uses her teammate Ash as human bait to win the competition, and Ash is completely pissed off by this, and it doesn't help that she already was skeptical about Callie and Nighthaven joining Team Rainbow. So with all of these emotions boiled up, Ash is like, "I don't know how you do things in the private sector, but we do not use people as bait here." And then she starts a fist fight with Callie. Callie low-key gets her shit rocked, and this immediately creates tension between the original Team Rainbow and Nighthaven. As a result of Ash's skepticism, she recruits Flores to essentially spy on Callie to see what her underlying motives are. Although I mentioned Osa much earlier on, she doesn't officially join Nighthaven's branch in Team Rainbow until 2021 as a part of Callie's plan to overwhelm Team Rainbow with her own Nighthaven operatives. In a conversation that occurs later down the line, Zero tells Flores that he knows he is working with Ash to spy on Nighthaven, but Zero tells Flores to report anything he finds to him rather than to Ash. It seems like there's a boiling point coming. Following the Tournament of Champions of 2022, Nighthaven leaves Team Rainbow and takes some of their own operators with them. Callie's plan had worked out and made her team stronger, and now she's all like, "This is the adults table, sweetheart." Even though they lost multiple core operators like Smoke, Ella, and IQ, Team Rainbow looked to come out of the separation with Nighthaven even stronger, so the leader of Team Rainbow, named Harry, went and created 4 squads led by 4 of the team's best leaders: Thermite, Hibana, Doc, and Kavera. Thermite went on to lead Red Hammer, Hibana to Viper Strike, Doc to Wolfguard, and then Kavera to Ghost Eyes. At this point, we're currently in 2022, and Azami is about to be introduced. Before she is recruited to Team Rainbow, she was the bodyguard for a billionaire named Yahata. One day, she fails to protect him from an assassination attempt, and Yahata is killed. She later finds through the help of a longtime friend Hibana that the bullets used to kill Yahata are the same bullets that Nighthaven used. Team Rainbow tracks down the men who assassinated Yahata and find that they were given a large sum of money to do the job and are unaware of who they were working for because they were contacted through an encrypted message. It turns out this was all planned beforehand and was a massive trap. Whoever did this knew that Team Rainbow would come find the men in this warehouse who assassinated Yahata, and an attack with an artillery helicopter would begin at that moment Team Rainbow was interrogating the men. Azami is ultimately able to help Team Rainbow escape the helicopter using her Keepa barriers. Team Rainbow is still uncertain if it was definitely Nighthaven, but either way, they are declaring war on whoever did this because they just tried to kill them. In response to this, Team Rainbow captures the architect who designed Nighthaven's main headquarters so that they could plan a secret infiltration on their base. After receiving enough information to confidently navigate the building, Nokk is sent on the mission alone. She successfully completes the mission and collects massive amounts of data on Nighthaven. However, she was caught in the act before she escaped, so Nighthaven were well aware of Team Rainbow doing this. Because of this, Nighthaven sets Grim on a mission to find Nokk's true identity as a message back to Team Rainbow that basically was stating that they weren't messing around. Grim successfully does this and actually visits Nokk at her personal home, where he finds out that she has a family of her own. Basically, if Nokk's real identity became public information, it would pose a national security threat. Nokk tries to kill Grim when she discovers what he is at her house for, to which Grim tells her that he isn't there to kill her, but rather to show her how powerful Nighthaven now is, with her true identity in their palms. All of this would have been worth nothing, however, because Team Rainbow would eventually find out from the data they stole that Nighthaven was not responsible for Yahata's assassination, and so it was now evident that there was a third party in the mix trying to create a war between Nighthaven and Team Rainbow. Obviously, there were still Nighthaven bullets at the scene, which means someone was secretly selling Nighthaven's weapons on the black market to this third party. Team Rainbow and Nighthaven were far from working together, but they both had similar interests to stop these dangerous transactions, and so Team Rainbow was actually tipped about a weapons sale happening in an undisclosed location in the world, and there are multiple operators put on a mission to intercept it. While this is going on, Deimos, who has been unheard of for years now, infiltrates the leader of Team Rainbow's office, again whose name is Harry, and Deimos shows Harry a live recording of the mission that Team Rainbow was currently on at this moment to stop the weapon deal. In this live feed, it shows the warehouse that the operators are in blowing up, as it was all carefully rigged in a premeditated trap. All of the operators survived but were in very poor condition. Deimos then criticizes Harry for what he's turned Team Rainbow into, and claims it's basically a shell of what it was back in Deimos' day. He also states that he has made it his personal mission to kill every operator and be the end of Team Rainbow. Then Harry drops this absolutely fire line and goes, "Now, if you don't mind, I happen to find you exceedingly fucking boring," and then he gets shot in the chest. After this happened, obviously Team Rainbow wanted their revenge. There were numerous failed attempts at killing Deimos after that, including one where Brava, Capitao, and Hibana hijacked Deimos' plane that he was on, and then in a tight situation where Brava had to choose between killing Deimos or saving Capitao, she yells, "I'm not letting you die," and saves Capitao. In another failed attack on Deimos, the team finds Fenrir on one of Deimos' bases, who happened to give himself up to Team Rainbow. Fenrir basically knew there was a trap inside the building that Team Rainbow was about to infiltrate, and so he blew it up to save them. Fenrir told them that he knows how to stop Deimos once and for all. Fenrir was offered funding from Deimos to complete research and development on his F-Naught mines, and that's why he was on the enemy side. However, Deimos manipulated Fenrir into creating an even more dangerous mine that made people incredibly violent and aggressive when inhaled. So that's why Fenrir wanted to get back at Deimos and join Team Rainbow. After careful screening, Fenrir was officially introduced onto the team. He gets his first test in a hostage situation where he successfully uses his dread mines to save 8 hostages. They later find out that they were being held captive because one of the hostages had worked for Team Rainbow and had information on where and when the next Team Rainbow operator training would happen, and he gave it up to the enemies. So now, Deimos had this information and could plan an attack bigger than they have ever seen. This information was not relayed in time, and many individual recruits were killed at the operator training from an attack chopper. This is where Ram is introduced as a recruit and successfully shoots down the helicopter to save those who remained. The attack chopper had data of its flight in it, and Team Rainbow could use it to trace it back to where it precisely came from. They were eventually able to pinpoint the ship that the helicopter departed from, and Tubarão and others were sent on a mission to find the ship. When they do, they see many of Deimos' men were leaving the ship on small boats, and they were able to follow them back to Deimos' lair, where Team Wolfguard begins its infiltration. They found hostages being held here, but were unable to save them this time. They also did not find Deimos, but they did find a mission board that showed Deimos' next attack to be on Emerald Plains. Doc, Mira, and Rook make their way to Emerald Plains to lure him in and take him alive. However, Deimos overwhelms them and defeats them. This is when Zero comes in, and in a heroic battle, defeats Deimos. All of the operators ended up surviving, and Team Rainbow successfully took Deimos into custody. Team Rainbow was devastated after losing so many recruits at the attack from Deimos, so they went into their next installments of training with a different mindset and allowed for the recruits to be more multi-dimensional. This is when Striker and Sentry come into the lore, as it shows that they aren't just one character, but rather multiple. All of the attacking recruits are called Strikers, obviously, and all of the defending recruits are obviously called Sentries. But that's as far as the recruit lore goes, so let's get back to Deimos. Ash interrogates Deimos unsuccessfully the first time. The second time, she entices him by telling Deimos that she agrees with him that Team Rainbow has been held back. This is when Deimos proposes that Team Rainbow takes him into the field and he will help them reach their full potential. After they were given additional intel from Deimos, Team Rainbow then heads to an overtaken chalet to gather information from Deimos' soldiers, also known as the Keres Legion. They overhear soldiers talking about coordinates, so they know they need to get this information. They infiltrate Chalet and attack the Keres soldiers. Kavera interrogates the presumed leader of this group of soldiers and gets the location out of him. She calls this into Zero, who is back at the base, and tells him that the Keres Legion safe house is in Greece, and that's where the intel will be. To which Zero replies that they have a contact in Greece already, and it's time to get her involved. And so this brings in Skopos to take us to present day, Year 9, Season 3, Operation Twin Shells. Basically, Skopos and Dokkaebi are going to this Keres hideout that we just talked about, where Dokkaebi goes in and Skopos is fully running everything from behind the scenes. We see Dokkaebi get into trouble, and so Skopos sends in Colossus and Talos in dramatic fashion, and they take out the whole hideout, or at least so they think. On their way out, they get met by the Keres Legion soldiers in cars, and so they're trying to fight them off whilst hacking into their database to get what they're looking for. They find out that the Keres Legion is planning an attack in 2 days at the time, so they eventually escape and they head to Hereford Base, where Skopos finally meets Deimos yet again, and she's obviously pissed off because Deimos has an attack planned that he wasn't going to say anything about, and he led Team Rainbow to Greece, where she lives. Skopos presses him about the attack that they found to be planned in just a few days, and she scolds Deimos for basically being a bitch and that he's going to lose, to which he responds, "I guess we'll find out tomorrow." And so that's where we are right now as of Year 9 Season 3 Operation Twin Shells. Let me know what surprised you guys the most down in the comments, or what you guys didn't know before you watched this video about the Rainbow Six Siege lore. And be sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video, because this took way too long to make. But besides for that, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.